Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Razieq. I'm from TBI 6A, and in this video I will present my assignment for the translation course guided by Mr. Sakut Ansuri MPD. I'll start by definition of translation. Translation is a linguistic and communicative process that involves rendering a message from a source language, or we can say SL, and into an equivalent message in the target language, or TL. It is more than just substituting words from one language to another. It requires understanding the context, culture, and intent behind the original text to convey the same meaning effectively in another language. According to Roman Jacobson, in his work on linguistic aspect of translation, Jacobson states, translation is the interpretation of verbal sign by means of some other language. He categorized translation into three types. First one is interlingual translation. It is with the same language. Second one is interlingual translation. It is between two languages. And the third one is intersemiotic translation. It is by it is between sign system like text to image and etc. According to Vinay and Darbelnet, these scholars view translation as a process of transferring a written message from SL to TL using equivalent linguistic structure. They emphasize translation technique including borrowing, calque, literal translation, transposition, modulation, equivalence, and adaptation. According to Mona Baker, in the other words, Baker defined translation as a process that involves the replacement of textual material in one language, or SL, by equivalent textual material in another language, or TL. She focused on equivalence at different level: words, grammar, text, and pragmatics. Next part is about the translation process. The translation process refers to the mental and procedural stage a translator undergoes to convey a source text into an equivalence target text, maintaining meaning, function, and cultural relevance. According to Nida's model, three-stage process, Eugene Nida proposed a three-stage process that includes analysis, understanding the grammatical structure, lexical meaning, and cultural aspect of the source text. Transfer, mentally transferring the extract meaning from the source language, or SL, to target language, or TL. Restructuring, re-expressing the message naturally and fluently in the TL to dynamic equivalence, ensuring the TL audience reacts similarly to the SL audience. According to Newmark process, Peter Newmark outlines the translation process in the following steps. First is reading and understanding the source text, decoding meaning based on context, finding equivalence expression in the TL, revising and checking for clarity, naturalness, and fidelity. He distinguished between semantic translation, prioritizing meaning, communicative translation, prioritizing audience impact. According to Jacobson's view, Roman Jacobson conceptual conceptual translation as a semiotic activity. He classifies translation into interlingual, recording within the same language, interlingual translation between different languages, and intersemiotic. It is translation between sign systems. Translation is not merely substitution, it is interpretation through sign. According to Daniel Guile, introduced the effort model, initially for interpreting but also applicable to translation. Comprehension effort, understanding the source message. Memory effort, it is retaining content and context. Production effort, it is generating the target message. Coordinating effort, it is managing all efforts simultaneously. Focus, cognitive load management during translation. So, the translation process is multi-layer and dynamic. It involves linguistic expertise like grammar, vocabulary, and idioms. Cognitive processing like memory, attention, and analysis. Cultural competence like critical and creative thinking. A translator must be more than bilingual. They must be a mediator of meaning and context across languages and cultures. The next part is uh, language language function, text categories, and text type. Language function and how texts are categorized help translators choose appropriate strategies that preserve meaning, intent, and effect in the target language. The first is language function. Language function refer to the purpose behind a message. Recognizing the dominant function of a text guided the translator to produce a target version that fulfills the same communicative goal. According to Carl theory, Carl identified three primary language functions. The first is expression function focus, is the speaker or reader emotion and attitudes. For example, poems, diaries, personal letters, and etc. Second is translation strategy. It preserves tone, emotion, and style. Next, informative function focus is transmission of factual or objective information. For example, news, article, manuals, academic text. Next is translation strategy. Ensures accuracy, clarity, and precision. Next, foca- vocative function focus like directing, persuading, or motivating the audience. For example, advertisement, public notice, speech. Next is translation strategy. Prioritize impact and reader response. Adaptation may be necessary. According to Romans Jacobson is added to Butler model proposing six language functions. First is referential. It describes information similar to informative. Second is emotive. Express the speaker feeling. Third is connotative. It's aim influencing behavior. Fourth is pathetic. It establishes or maintains communication. Metalingual discuss the language itself. Five is poetics. It's focused on form and aesthetic. In translation, the referential, emotive, and connotative function are most influential. Next is text categories in translation by Peter Newmark. Newmark align text type with language function and recommend appropriate translation methods like expressive text purpose. It convey creative or emotional expression. For example, literature, autobiography, song, lyrics, and etc. Next is translation approach, semantic translation to retain author style and tone. Next, informative text purpose, it is communicative, factual, and logical context. Next is translation approach, communicative translation focus on clarity and accuracy, vocative text. Next is purpose, it is appeal or direct the reader to act. For example, political speech, ads, and instruction. Next is translation approach, adaptation to maximize effect on the audience. Next is text type in translation. According to Katrina Reis developed a functional models based on text type and communicative purpose. It is informative text type function. It is present facts or data, for example, reports, encyclopedia, and goal to accurate and clear information transfer expressive text to function, artistic, emotional expression, for example, novel, poetry, and script, to written style, form, and artistic intent. Next is operative text type function. It is motivate action or change opinion, like advertisement, slogan, and politic speech. It is to achieve the same impact on the target reader. Next is audio medial text type. The function is combine text with visual or audio modes. For example, film, website, video games, and it is to coordinate verbal and non-verbal element in translation. Next is translation ideology. Translation ideology refers to the set of belief, value, and power dynamics that influence the choice made during the translation process. It highlights how translators are not simply language technicians, but cultural mediators whose decision conscious the final message in the target language. In essence, translation is never entirely neutral. Translators bring their own perspective, background, and bias into their work, which are further influenced by institutional, cultural, and political context. According to Vanuti, Lawrence Venuti introduced two type ideological strategies in translation. It is domestic, to adapt the source text to align with the cultural norms and expectations of the target audience. The second one is ideological impact. The second one is uh, foreignization. It is retains element of the resource of the source culture to emphasize its distinctiveness. According to Maria T. Moscow, translation as political practice, they argue that translation is inherently political. Translate influence whose voice are heard or silenced, how stories are framed, whether dominant ideologies are supported or resisted. This view is especially relevant in post-colonial, feminist, or activist translation contexts, where the translator plays a vital role in identity construction and cultural representation. The concept of translation ideology of our understanding of translation beyond linguistic equivalence. It reminds us that translators hold significant power in shaping cross-cultural communication and perception. A translator awareness of ideological influence leads to more reflective, ethical, and context-sensitive translation practice. As such, as such, translation is not only a linguistic act but also a cultural, political, and ideological one. Next part is translation methods. Translation methods refer to the strategies or approach that translators use to convey a message from a source language into a target language. These methods are shaped by various factors including the type and purpose of the text, cultural context, and the translator objective. Scholars have developed different frameworks for categorized translation method, which can generally be grouped into direct and indirect approach. According to Peter Newmark proposed two main translation methods. First one is semantic translation. It is focused on maintaining the exact meaning, structure, and nuance of the original text. The second one is suitable for literary or expressive text such as poetry or autobiography. For example, translating a poem while preserving metaphors, tone, and rhythm. Communicative translation prioritize reader comprehension and naturalness in the target language, commonly used for informative or persuasive text such as manuals and advertisement. For example, translating a brooch with culturally adapt expression for clarity and appeal. According to Eugene introduced two influential translation methods. First one is formal equivalence that emphasize faithfulness to the form and context of the source text, suitable for technical, legal, or religious texts. For example, a legal contract requires exact terminology and sentence structure. Dynamic equivalence aims to evoke the same effect in the target audience as the original did. Structure structure may be adjusted for clarity and naturalness. For example, a Bible passage translated in everyday language for wider understanding. Applying the appropriate translation method is crucial for achieving accuracy, clarity, and natural relevance in translation, while direct method maintain fidelity to the original text. Oblique or function method offer the flexibility needed to meet expectations and norms of the target audience. Mastery of this approach allows translators to adapt effectively across a variety of texts, from literary works to legal documents and multimedia content. Hi guys, I think that's all from my explanation. The last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.